Operation Epic Fury.
The radical left is using dead Iranian children to wage information warfare against America, and they just got caught red-handed. While talking heads on The View accuse our military of murder, Sky News just confirmed what we've been telling you. Iran's propaganda machine lied about the school strike. The building they claimed was hit by American missiles already destroyed before the Tomahawk even arrived. And here's where it gets even more explosive. Even Democratic Senator John Fetterman's breaking ranks and calling out his own party's disgusting hypocrisy. What does he know that has the radical left absolutely panicking right now? And I'm going to tell you, though, why it matters. Because we're watching the establishment media try to turn Operation Epic Fury into another endless guilt trip designed to handcuff American military power. Think about what's really happening here. Iran's mullahs massacre 30,000 of their own people in the streets using chemical weapons on protesters, and the fake news barely blinks. But the moment there's an accidental strike near a school, suddenly every Democrat in Washington is demanding investigations and calling our troops murderers. You see, it's not about dead children to them. It's just about stopping Trump. It's about undermining American resolve so the Iranian regime can continue funding terrorism, building nukes, and threatening our allies. If they succeed in turning public opinion against this operation, the mullahs win. Your sons and daughters in uniform get painted as war criminals while actual terrorists get a free pass. The left wants you demoralized. They want you divided. They want you questioning whether America even deserves to defend itself. Oh, but there's more. Speaking of national security deceptions, there's another story Washington does not want you focused on, and it's happening right here at home. While we're exposing Iran's propaganda, we need to talk about another threat. I'm talking about America's uranium crisis. Our nuclear subs, our warheads, and power grid all depend on uranium, yet we import almost every pound. And the numbers are staggering. We burn through 50 million pounds a year, but mine less than 1 million. That's a 50 to 1 national security gap that should alarm every American. Now, this is not speculation. It happened this year, January 14th. The president signed a Section 232 executive order to secure our uranium supply chain. Days before, the Department of Energy locked in $2.7 billion in new contracts. Atomic minerals trading as ATMMF in the U.S. and ATOM in Canada holds key ground across the Colorado Plateau and sits directly in the path of this historic shift. So we thank Atomic for sponsoring today's coverage, but there's a link below for more details on America's uranium revolution that's been prepared exclusively for you. And here's what they're not telling you about this so-called school strike. Sky News forensic analysis just proved the Iranian news agency was pushing pure propaganda. That video they claimed that showed a Tomahawk hitting the school was already smoking before the missile even arrived on camera. They literally got caught manufacturing evidence. While Sonny Hostin calls our troops murderers on national television, Senator John Kennedy, he's saying what every American knows. This was a terrible accident, not intentional targeting. Our military does not do what Russia does or what Iran does. You want to see it? Here we go. Sonny Hostin claims the U.S. intentionally murdered Iranian schoolgirls. Sure.
I do think that is going to change the tide for people that are truly conservative Republicans, people that are truly independent, and certainly, the Democrats are already on the other side, because now you have 165 girls that were murdered in Iran while they were at school. And there has been this shifting explanation. One explanation was, well, that's Iran must have shot their own people, their own school. Then another explanation was, well, it was right next to an Iranian military base. And so maybe they were using the students as cover. Now it turns out that it was likely an American Tomahawk missile that struck down those girls and killed those girls. And they were working by mistake because they were working off of old intelligence. It was 10 years ago that school was part of this military base. And so think about our families, think about our soldiers. Their children live on the bases with them. Their families live on the bases with them. If that happened here, we would all be outraged. Where are the Republicans that talking about family values and children?
They should be
Where
outraged about those children.
Yes, they should. That's my point. They should be outraged about those kids. I don't. Where are they? I don't.
Oh, man. Sonny Hassan, the clucks at the View. Never disappoint. But we have this. The Iranian news agency caught lying about the Tomahawk missile they claim struck a school in Iran. Maybe Sonny Hassan should check with Sky News. They confirmed that the missile hit a military target, not the school, and the school had already been hit by the time the video shows the Tomahawk. Okay, you want to see? I'll show it. I'll show you for yourself with your own eyes.
This video sheds crucial new light. It was put out by an Iranian news agency which said it shows the school being hit. That's wrong. Actually, it is a building in the same area, and so far there's no footage of the school strike itself. But it does give a very important clue about what might have happened. If you look closely at the start of the video, you see the strike, and then you can see smoke coming out of an area where the school is supposed to be. And here you can see the outline of a missile quite clearly. Experts have told us this is a US Tomahawk. Then we went and looked for footage of US military action on the same day. We found this video released by the US military that shows similar missiles being launched on the same day of the school strike. We can't say whether this particular salvo or this particular missile was part of the attack, but it shows they were being fired at the same time. And this is really important to mention. The US is the only combatant that uses the Tomahawk missile. But why would someone want to strike that site? Well, we had a look through the satellite images, the before and after. This is the satellite image of the compound before the strike. The main part of this is an Iranian Revolutionary Guards naval base. The school, built at the same time, is in the top right corner, separated from the base by a wall. You can see brightly coloured walls which look like chalk markings on the floor and the outline of a sports court. And this is after. The imagery shows large holes in the centre of each of the buildings targeted, indicating precision strikes. Precision strikes, but absolutely devastating when they hit. This shows the aftermath. So let's go back to that video of the Tomahawk missile. If you remember the maps we showed, it appears it is hitting one part of the IRGC base, but not the school itself. There's a plume of smoke on the right. This is where the school is, indicating it may already have been hit by this point. Israeli spokespeople have said they were not aware of any operation in the area and said they didn't know who was responsible. President Donald Trump rejected accusations that the US was behind the attack. His defense secretary, Peter Hegseth, was a little more guarded.
Mr. President, did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 170?
No, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating?
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Seems pretty clear to me. The evidence speaks for itself. And then we have this. Senator Patty Murray wrongly blames the U.S. military for the school in Iran being destroyed. Recent reporting shows the Tomahawk missile strike in the video being shown with Murray actually hit a military target after the school was hit by an unknown
Outdated targeting data may have led to the death of more than 100 Iranians, teachers, children. Your reaction to that?
I'm just sickened by this. To go into this war unprepared, to use outdated data, and to have this horrific thing happen where children were killed in a school sends a horrible message to those that are in a war with us and to our own constituents about what America's values are. This is unacceptable. The administration needs to be held accountable, and to the very top, to the president, need to be clear and outspoken about apologizing and making sure that everyone goes back and makes sure that our targeting data is updated. This is what happens when you go into a war without preparing our country, without preparing our military, without a clear motive, with changing ideas every day about why we are there or how long we are going to stay there or what it's going to cost, what the end game is. That's when mistakes happen, and here we are. That's why this war needs to end.
What would accountability in this case look like?
Well, accountability is not the president blaming anybody else. It is not the Secretary of Defense blaming some person working in an office looking at data. It is standing up and being the men they want them to be seen as and apologizing for this tragic incident and promising this country that it will not happen again and doing the work to make sure it does not happen again.
And, of course, she missed the Sky News report as well. Senator John Kennedy, strike on Iranian girls' school was a terrible mistake, he says.
You actually talked to NBC News last night about that strike on the girls' school, and you said it was terrible. We made a mistake. I'm just so sorry that it happened. Why did you feel like it was important to say that?
Because I think it's the truth. I mean, we're investigating, but I'm not going to hide behind that. I think it was a terrible, terrible mistake. The investigation may prove me wrong. I hope so. The kids are still dead. But I think it was a horrible, horrible mistake. I wish it hadn't happened. I'm sorry it happened. Yeah, I can assure you it wasn't intentional. That's the sort of thing Russia does. We don't do that. But, you know, I don't see any other possible explanation. And when you make a mistake, you ought to admit it. Most people understand no one's perfect. But I don't think our men and women who are fighting for us did it intentionally. I'll never believe that.
Senator Kennedy. Now, Senator Fetterman.
Senate Democrat, except you, signed a letter today to Secretary Hegseth asking for an investigation into that strike on a girls' school in Iran. Why did you not sign that letter, Senator?
Well, because we all agree that it's a tragedy having the school hit. Absolutely. And we all agreed now for an investigation. What I don't agree with the rest of my colleagues in the House is that it's a war of choice, or it's dumb, or all the things that my colleagues have described, you know, this operation. I think it's a good thing, and I support that. So we agree that and actually the Pentagon is already investing in that. They just acknowledged then that it seems increasingly likely that we were now on that. And now I think it's entirely appropriate. Just like my colleague from Louisiana said, it's like, we should apologize that. That's a tragedy. And I would remind everybody listening right now, the United States never, ever targets civilians. Iran does. And including their own citizens, and they massacred that 35,000 of them just a couple of weeks ago. And the left, please, the left media is much more angry, about or talking about this hospital, and it is a tragedy. But they didn't seem to be as concerned about the Iranians massacring tens of thousands of their young people just a couple of weeks ago too. So we agree on many parts of it, but we both disagree. I mean, we all disagree that I think it's a good thing, and every single other Democrat in the caucus caused it all kinds of in negative terms.
We did cover the protest in Iran extensively here at CNN. Obviously, they said a lot about how internally...
Okay, Caitlin, thank you for that. Now, here is the truth that the establishment is desperate to hide. Well, they obsess over this tragic accident. Iran's regime just slaughtered up to 30,000 of their own citizens in the streets. Used chemical weapons on protesters. And the same media now demanding investigations into America, they barely covered it. Senator Fetterman called them out to their faces, you heard it. And Caitlin Collins could barely stammer out a response. We did cover it. You see, this isn't journalism. This is information warfare designed to protect a terrorist regime and undermine American military operations. The Iranian mullahs are laughing as our own media does their propaganda work for them. But the patriots, we see through it. And the truth is winning. Now here's the bottom line. The radical left and their media allies are trying to weaponize tragedy against our troops. They're amplifying Iranian propaganda while ignoring actual genocide happening in the streets of Tehran. But the truth keeps breaking through. From Sky News debunking their lies to John Fetterman refusing to play their game, this is why they're losing and this is why we keep winning. So share this video with everybody who needs to see the truth about what's really happening. And if you want to keep informed, and thank you for making it to the end of this video, a special gift for you. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. Costs you nothing to bypass the algorithm, to ensure you get the messages directly from me to you, right to your phone. No waiting for notifications that never come from YouTube. We're bypassing all of that. And this is what has been designed for you. So text raw feed to 844-840-4963. And drop a comment below. Tell me, do you think the media cares more about Iranian propaganda than American soldiers? Simple yes or no. And make sure you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell if it still works, so you never miss these stories the establishment wants buried. If you want to show your support for independent America First journalism, check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Find something you like. I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.